That's what I need to know. I need to know why my daughter don't want to come back to school no more. They talking about it ain't their job to tell me that my daughter's going into a room like this with a door closed with a man, and they can't tell me what happened, and my daughter don't want to come back to school. We got an issue. You're going to get to know me today. So what I did was I picked up the phone. I already called the cops. They don't want to tell me. I need a report or something because somebody need to explain to me why my daughter don't want to come back to school. You know that? Anybody else think it's okay to take little girls in the room?
So what happened was after he pounded the DCS worker out, he grabbed him from behind, held him out, and put him to sleep, right? Out of frustration and not knowing what the conversation was about, why they took his daughter in the room, right? One reason is you got a lot of abusive parents out there, right? With the threat of retaliation, right? If you tell what dad is doing, what mom is doing, your kid come in school with bruises all on them. Oh, I fell off the skateboard. Or, with all different excuses. And it's the teacher or principal job to report it to the police, in turn who they call DCS or CPS, and have a caseworker get involved. And a lot of times, if it's really bad, the kid won't even make it home. So, but as a parent, you do have rights. You do have the right to request to be there, right? In certain cases. And you or a friend, also, you can record the interview with audio and video, and also they have the right to do it as well, because a lot of things could be taken out of context if you're in the situation where they're in. You can refuse to allow the interview as well. That's if you're notified. But if you refuse the interview, they can get a court order and have it court ordered that you have to let them interview your kid. And you also have to be treated with respect, because these people have to talk to you with respect and decency. From what it looked like here, it don't look like the DCS worker was being the type of way. He actually pounded them out. And also, you do have the right to know what's happening, know what's going on, but you don't necessarily have the right to know what they're talking about. And you can have an attorney, because everybody had the right to an attorney. But I don't know all the steps. I don't know if these rules vary state to state. But I'm gonna say this, like, dude, now, let's say it was a situation where your kid was being abused, right? And then you do something like that, you act out any type of way. All it does is make their case. But in this case, something happened at the school, I'm assuming, or something happened with dad. But if it was something with dad, 9 times out of 10, somebody would have locked him up before he even got to that, or had the police there. So I don't know what's going on in this situation. All we see is this reaction, and I'm gonna just speak on that. This is not the way to react. I get it. But in some cases, we got to think for everybody, because now you're not going to be there to protect your daughter for whatever reason. She don't want to go back to school, and that's our job. So I get it. I've seen a lot of videos saying he's right. But the thing is, the man who did the interview, that's his job. That this is the protocol that he has to follow. Maybe he didn't do a good job communicating that to dad. You understand? They give him some sense of security and say, hey, look, it's okay, because he can tell him that, but he don't necessarily have to tell him what they talked about. But he could have reassured them and let them know what was going on, something. He could have gave him something, right? But still, this is not the way to react.
Anybody else think it's okay? You still breathing? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was just dumb. It was just dumb. I get it, when you love your kid, you want to make sure. That's what I need to know.
I need to know why my daughter don't want to come back to school no more. They talking about it ain't their job to tell me that my daughter's going into a room like this with a door closed with a man, and they can't tell me what happened, and my daughter don't want to come back to school.
The way you framed that, even like with a man, like he's a children's service worker, he's not going to molest your kid or hurt your kid or nothing crazy like that. He's there trying to figure it out so he could talk to your daughter, your child, your son, whoever in this type of situation, so they could get the information without them looking over at you, trying to make sure it's okay to talk. It's not necessarily about you. You understand what I'm saying? and him being a man.
We got an issue. You're going to get to know me today. So what I did was I picked up the phone. I already called the cops. They don't want to tell me. I need a report or something because somebody need to explain to me why my daughter don't want to come back to school.
So hopefully, if you would have waited for the police to come, they would explain to you a little better and with authority. This is the steps and this is why, this is the way you go about it, right? That way you can be free to be there to protect your daughter. Because something obviously happened that now she don't want to go back to school. But the funny thing about this, why is CPS or DCS is involved, is the funny thing, because if it's something with school, they'll just call the school police. You know what I mean? Like, I don't get why they're involved. So it could be something that's going on home. You know what? Now that I think about it, like even like crashing out like that. See, this is this thing, right? You know how it is so easy to go to jail and get in trouble. It is hard to get out. Like, yeah, he set his phone up, recorded himself assaulting this dude, putting him out, put him to sleep. Then he looked at everybody in the building. Who else think is okay? Now you going to jail. And this is that emotional shit. This is that emotional shit. Again, I'm not necessarily against dad, but I think this was stupid. But sometimes when we ignorant to the law of the land, we still feel like, hey, this is our kid regardless, and you're right. You're absolutely right. But this is not the way you go about getting the answer. So if it is something that's going on in the house, dad yelling and screaming, slamming doors, he punched a hole in the wall, it made me pee on myself. Or, he grabbed me too rough and I got a bruise on my arm now. And I'm in class and the teacher noticed the bruise. And they call you up to the front, after everybody leave, hey, what's going on? And you bust out crying. Now they call CPS. In this case, DCS. And then you do that. Guess who ain't getting their kid back in the new charge?
Anybody else think it's okay to take little girls in the room? Anybody else think it's okay?
And he feeling real big right there. Real strong. I grabbed somebody from behind. I got my point across and I still got no answers. That shit was dumb.